The rain fell softly outside the hospital as night shift workers slowly clocked out. Amara, a tired black nurse, stepped outside, rubbing her sore shoulders after a 12-hour shift. That's when she noticed an elderly Korean woman standing alone near the hospital gate. The woman looked confused, almost scared. Amara was about to walk over and ask if she needed help, when a black van suddenly screeched to a stop beside her. 3 men jumped out, and before anyone could react, they grabbed the old woman. Cliffhanger. But what the kidnappers didn't know, someone had already seen everything. The old woman screamed as the men tried to drag her into the van. People nearby froze. Some stepped back, others pulled out their phones, but no one moved to help. Amara felt her heart pounding. "Someone stop them!" the old woman cried. The kidnappers laughed. "Mind your business." Amara looked around desperately for something, anything to defend her. Her eyes landed on a wooden cleaning stick leaning against the hospital wall. She grabbed it. Cliffhanger. And before she could think twice, she charged straight at them. One of the kidnappers smirked when he saw her running. "A nurse?" he mocked. "You serious?" Crack. The wooden stick slammed across his arm so hard he dropped the woman. The other 2 thugs froze in shock. No one expected the quiet nurse to fight back. The old woman stumbled behind Amara, trembling. "Stay behind me," Amara whispered. But the men were now angry, and one of them slowly pulled out a knife. Cliffhanger. Then he lunged straight at her. The knife flashed under the streetlight. Amara's hands trembled, but she didn't run. She swung the stick again. The attacker ducked. The second thug rushed from the side. Crack! The stick smashed into his knee. He collapsed, screaming. The knife-wielding man grabbed Amara's arm, trying to overpower her. For a moment, it looked like the fight was over. Cliffhanger. Until the old woman suddenly shouted something in Korean that froze everyone. The old woman's voice trembled as she shouted at the kidnappers. "You don't know what you're doing?" The men laughed. "Oh, we know exactly who you are." They shoved Amara to the ground. The knife came closer to her face. "Hero, time is over." Amara tightened her grip on the stick. She was outnumbered, exhausted, and scared, but she refused to move. Cliffhanger. Then the sound of tires screeching echoed down the street. 3 black luxury cars roared toward the hospital entrance. The kidnappers froze. The cars stopped with military precision. Doors opened. Men in dark suits stepped out. Their faces were cold, silent. The kidnappers suddenly looked nervous. "Who the hell are those guys?" The old woman slowly relaxed, because she already knew. Cliffhanger. And then the back door of the last car opened. A tall man stepped out of the car. Sharp suit, cold eyes. The street instantly fell silent. The kidnappers stared at him in confusion. But the old woman whispered something that made Amara's heart drop. "That's my son." The man slowly walked toward them. His gaze moved from the injured thugs to the nurse holding the stick. Cliffhanger. Then he asked one terrifying question. The man looked at the kidnappers lying on the ground. His voice was calm, almost too calm. "Who touched my mother?" No one answered. The thugs suddenly realized something was very wrong. One tried to run. A suited guard grabbed him instantly. Amara helped the old woman stand. The powerful stranger looked at the nurse again. "Did you fight them?" Amara nodded slowly. Cliffhanger. The man's expression changed in a way no one expected. The kidnappers began to panic. "Wait, you don't understand?" But the suited men already surrounded them. One thug whispered in fear, "Is that him?" Another nodded, pale. "Yes, that's the Korean Mafia boss." Amara's stomach dropped. She had just risked her life for his mother. The boss slowly walked toward her. Everyone watched in silence. Cliffhanger. Then he bowed his head slightly. The Mafia boss looked directly at Amara. "You protected my mother." His voice carried a dangerous calm. "No one has ever done that before." The thugs were now begging, but the boss ignored them. Instead, he turned to the nurse. "You saved her life." He paused. "And in my world, a life debt is never forgotten." Amara thought the nightmare was over, but she was wrong. Cliffhanger. Because the boss suddenly asked her a question that would change her life forever. Will you come work for me? The street was silent. The Korean mafia boss looked at Amara with calm but terrifying eyes. My mother is alive because of you, he said. Amara shook her head. I'm just a nurse. But the boss slowly stepped closer. In my world, loyalty like that is rare. He handed her a black card. Come see me if you ever need protection. The police sirens began approaching in the distance. Amara thought this would be the last time she ever saw him. She was wrong. Cliffhanger. Because the kidnapped thugs had already told someone who stopped them. Across the city, inside a dark warehouse, another crime boss slammed his fist on a table. They failed? A man nodded nervously. Yes, because of a nurse. The boss's eyes burned with anger. That old woman was our only leverage against him. He stood slowly. Then we removed the problem. He pointed at Amara's picture on a phone screen. Kill the nurse. Cliffhanger. And the assassins were already heading to the hospital. The next night at the hospital felt normal. Patients, nurses, quiet hallways. Amara finished checking a patient's IV. Then the lights suddenly went out. The hallway fell into darkness. Footsteps echoed. A man in black stepped out holding a silenced gun. You should have minded your business. Amara froze. But before he could pull the trigger... Crack! A bodyguard tackled him to the floor. More suited men flooded the hallway. Amara recognized them immediately. Cliffhanger. The mafia boss had already been watching over her. Inside a private car, Amara sat across from the mafia boss. You're being hunted, he said, because you protected my mother. Amara stared at him in disbelief. I didn't ask for this. He nodded. I know. Outside the window, armed cars surrounded them. My enemies will never stop now. Amara's voice trembled. So what happens to me? The boss looked straight ahead. There are only two choices. Cliffhanger. Run or stand beside me in the war. Amara sat in silence. Her life as a nurse was over. Someone wanted her dead. Finally, she spoke. I won't run. The mafia boss studied her carefully. You understand what that means? She nodded. If they're coming for me, I'd rather fight. For the first time, the boss gave a faint smile. Then welcome to my world. But neither of them realized something worse had already begun. Cliffhanger. Because the rival mafia had just launched a citywide war. Gunfire echoed across the city. Warehouses burned, cars exploded in the streets. Two mafia empires clashed in open warfare. Amara watched the chaos from a fortified building. The boss's men fought everywhere. But the rival leader had one final plan. If we can't take the mother, he growled, kill the son. Snipers moved into position, their target locked. Cliffhanger, and the crosshairs settled directly on the mafia boss. The sniper fired. The bullet screamed through the air. Amara saw the flash. Without thinking, she shoved the mafia boss aside. The bullet hit the wall inches away. Guards immediately returned fire. But in the chaos, another assassin rushed forward. Gun raised. This time, the mafia boss reacted first. He stepped in front of Amara. Bang! The shot echoed. The assassin dropped. But so did the boss. Cliffhanger. Blood spread across his shirt. Amara pressed her hands against the wound. Stay with me! The boss struggled to breathe. His men panicked around them. I should have kept you out of this, he whispered. Amara shook her head. You saved me too. He slowly reached into his coat and handed her something. A ring. The Empire needs someone strong. Her eyes widened. No. His voice faded. Protect my mother. And then the most feared mafia boss in the city stopped breathing. Cliffhanger. But the war wasn't over yet.
Days later, the rival mafia gathered in an abandoned factory to celebrate. The boss is dead, their leader laughed. The empire is finished. Then the doors burst open. Armed men flooded the building. Behind them walked Amara. No nurse uniform. Black suit. Cold eyes. The entire room fell silent. The rival boss sneered. "You think you can replace him?" Amara slowly slipped the ring onto her finger. "I'm not replacing him." Her voice was calm. "I'm finishing his war." Gunfire erupted. Minutes later, silence returned. The rival boss lay defeated. Outside, the Mafia soldiers bowed their heads. Not to the dead boss, but to her. Because the nurse who once fought with a simple stick had become the new ruler of the entire empire. The end.